Friends, today we are starting with the class 2 of a photoelasticity. In here, we are mainly concentrating on the stress optic law. Okay, so see this. This is the stress optic law. Okay, this is a stress optic law. So it mainly concerned about the relation between the stresses and the optical element values. Okay, so by that relation, we are going to consider this stress optic law. Okay. In here you can see there are two discs. It's a optical elements. uh, Actually it's not two discs, it's a one disc with two conditions. Okay, one condition is unstressed condition, means there is no load applied, there is no stress on this whatever the disc. But for this disc we are going to apply some load, so it is a stressed material, means we are going to apply some stress over that material. So you can see this unstressed condition, the whatever the index, this is the n naught, which is representing the refractive index. Okay, this refractive index n naught represent, it is equal, n naught is equal in this whatever the any direction of this disk. If we find, we are going to find the n naught is equal to same for all directions. So what is this refractive index? Just for to understanding purpose, I am just taking one photo from the net. This is the refractive index. You can read here. Refractive index, also called as index of refraction, measure of a bending of ray of light when passing from one medium into another. Means if a light passing from one medium to the another medium, there is a bending of light is going to take place. So that bending of light is called as a refractive index. It's also equal to the velocity of light c of a given wavelength in a empty space divided by its velocity v in a substance. You can see this equation, n is equal to c by v. So where n is the refractive index, c is the velocity of light in vacuum, and v is the velocity of light in medium. So this is the formula for to determine the refractive index. Okay, we move on to the presentation. Okay, so in here the first condition, the n naught is same, but when the load is applied to the same disc, optical disc, you can find there are two refractive indexes, means there is a change in refractive index, is n naught, sorry, n1 and n2. So this n1 is coinciding with the sigma 1, that is the principal stress, and n2 is coinciding with the sigma 2. So this whatever the material which we are considering, it behaves as a double refractive when it is applied with the stress. So the you are going to find n1 and n2 are the refractive index for the particular sigma 1 and sigma 2 orientation. So you can read in here, the figure shows the unstressed thin disc of photoelastic model. It's a photoelastic model. The refractive index of the material in any direction is n naught. This this thin disc is subjected to loads such as the principal stresses developed at a point O, and sigma 1 and sigma 2 are as shown in figure 2. The refractive index of material changes in a direction of sigma 1 to the value of n1 and n2 in the direction sigma 2. These changes in the refractive indices are linearly proportional to the stresses. So with respect to the stress variation, this refractive index is going to be changes. So we have the formula for this, means n1 minus n0, means this is the n1 is the refractive index when it is a stressed condition in the direction of sigma 1, and n0 is the whatever the refractive index where there is no stress. So n1 minus n0 is equal to c1 sigma 1. So c1 is nothing but it is the stress optic coefficient, c1 sigma 1 plus c2 sigma 2. So you have to remember these two equations, that is n1 minus n0 is equal to c1 sigma 1 plus c2 sigma 2. Similarly n2 minus n0, which is equal to c1 sigma 2 plus c2 sigma 1. So these are the two very important equations for the stress optic law. So what happens in here, you are taking the difference, means what is the difference which you are observed with respect to the unstressed condition and the stressed condition. For the particular difference, you are going to have some value of equation, that is with respect to some constant. So where sigma 1 and sigma 2 are the principal stresses at a point in a material under a plane stress condition, N0 is a refractive index in the unstressed model. N1 and N2 are the refractive index of a stressed model associated with the direction of principal stress sigma 1 and sigma 2. C1 and C2 are the stress optic coefficients. This changes is refractive index can be used as a basis for a stress measurement technique, that is photoelasticity. So what we do, we will solve these two equations 1 and 2. Okay, so equation 1 and 2 we are going to solve it as equation 2 minus of equation 1. So what happens if you minus 2 with one equation, we are going to get n2 minus of n1, which is equal to c1 minus of c2 and sigma 2 minus of sigma 1. If you solve these two equations by minusing second equation with the first equation, we are going to get this equation. Okay, so what you do, n2 minus of n1 is equal to c into sigma 1 minus sigma 2. What we do, we are going to putting the c1 minus sigma c2 in the term of one value, that is c. So that is where c2 minus c1 is equal to c. So we are putting that term for the simplification of the equation. So next, if sigma 1, this is the condition, means if sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2, the velocity of propagation of light wave associated with the principal stress sigma 1 is greater than velocity of propagation of light wave associated with the principal stress sigma 2. Means sigma 1 and sigma 2 is, we are going to call when their velocity is going to be different for the both stresses, is known as positive birefringence. This is the condition where we can get the positive birefringence. Okay, so next, for the further solution of the photo stress optic law, in here we are considering the retardation. You can see this diagram. Okay, so this is actually a polarization diagram. So what happens, one source is there, in front of that source you are going to get the polarizing lens, it is a polarizer, then you are finding one model at the middle, then analyzer, and then you are finding some waves. So you can see the wave when it enters from the source to the polarizer, it will be converted into plane polarized. So this is a plane polarized light. When it falls on the model, so the model when it is applied with the load, it will act as a double refractive material. Okay, it will act as a double refractive, or the it will not it will changes its refractive indexes. So when it changes its refractive indexes, the whatever the wave enters the model, it will be splitted into two waves. One wave is splitted into two waves. One wave which is coinciding with the one principal stress, and another wave which is coinciding with the another principal stress. So by that, the two waves having different velocity, it is not same velocity. So one is faster than another one. So what happens, there is a retardation between the two waves is going to take place. You can see in the final view, the one wave is different to the another wave, means there is a retardation, there is a gap, so between their crusts, that is the retardation. So why this retardation going to happens? Because of this behavior of the model. So same thing in here, a photoelastic model behaves like a wave plate, and it can be used to relate the relative retardation delta. Means if you want to determine the relative retardation, can use the model to change in the refractive index in the material due to stress. If the beam of a plane polarized light is passing through the thin sheet photoelastic material at a normal incidence as shown, the relative retardation delta between two components of light vector along each of the principal stress direction can be obtained. Yes, if you want to determine the relative retardation, you have to consider this type of model. Okay, so this is the model where the light is falling. Okay, the polarized light on the plane polarized light is falling, and it will be splitted into a two light vectors, p1 and p2. Okay, it's similar as the p1 p2 which is coinciding with the sigma 1 and sigma 2 values. Okay, so this is the model which is having the thickness small h. So it is a photoelastic model. So what happens, the retardation of this model can be written as delta is equal to 2 pi hc by lambda into sigma 1 minus sigma 2. Okay, so this equation you have to remember. This equation is obtained By that relative retardation means there are two waves. Okay, one wave is forming like this, so another wave is somewhat making retardation with the another wave. So this is the distance which is making with the two whatever the waves wave points is that is a retardation that can be determined by the angle of inclination of those refractive indices and the whatever the light vectors. By that you are going to get that retardation value, and finally you are going to get this equation, that is delta 2 pi hc by lambda sigma 1 minus sigma 2, where h is the thickness of the model, c is the velocity of the light, lambda is the wavelength, sigma 1 is the principal stress, sigma 1 and sigma 2 are the principal stresses. Okay, and delta is representing the magnitude of relative retardation between two components of light beam propagating in direction perpendicular to the sigma 1 and sigma 2. So it is a relative retardation. Okay, so this equation 4 shows the relative retardation delta is linearly proportional to the sigma 1 minus sigma 2, means delta is equal to, you can see here, the delta is proportional to the sigma 1 minus sigma 2, that is the equation 4 shows, and h and inversely proportional to the lambda wavelength of a light being used. Okay, so h and inversely proportional to the lambda wavelength of the light. This is the equation description. The relative stress optic coefficient C is assumed as a material constant. Okay, so this sigma 1 minus sigma 2 can be rewritten. So in the form of if you just interchange this earlier equation, fourth equation, means if you take this as values at the left side, and or you can take the sigma 1 minus sigma 2 left side and all this delta value this side. So what happens, this equation forms sigma 1 minus sigma 2 is equal to delta by 2 pi into lambda by c into 1 by h. So this is the equation you are going to get. Okay, in here some values you are going to take. Delta by 2 pi is taken as n, relative retardation in terms of complete cycle. Okay, where it's also called as fringe order. The n is also called as fringe order. Delta by 2 pi, by this you can get the fringe order. The fringe order is obtained in the model fringes. So the number of fringes, if you count that, we'll get the fringe order. By that fringe order you are going to get the n value. Okay, so then lambda by c can be written as sigma f or f sigma. You can write sigma f or f sigma. This lambda by c is nothing but the wavelength by velocity of light. It is equal to stress fringe value. Okay, this stress fringe value that can be obtained by lambda by c. If you know the wavelength and if you know the velocity, you can determine the sigma f. So by that you have the equation, that is stress optic law equation, that is sigma 1 minus sigma 2, which is equal to capital N into sigma f by h. So this is the very important equation and final equation of a stress optic law. Okay, this n is obtained by this value and sigma f is obtained by this value. So finally you are going to get this value. Sigma f stress fringe value is a property of a model material and it is determined by calibration. It's a calibration value, so it can be determined that by the calibration methods. The above equation represents the stress optic law, which in turn is a relation between the stress and optical elements. Okay, so this is the derivation and very important for the exam purpose. So it is a, if you consider the, if the photoelastic model material exhibits a perfectly linear elastic behavior, the difference in principal strains sigma epsilon 1 minus epsilon 2 can also be measured by establishing the value in relative retardation. So if you want to determine the material fringe value in terms of strains, you require this equation. So there is nothing but the general you know the equation epsilon 1 is equal to 1 by e into sigma 1 minus nu into sigma 2, and epsilon 2 is equal to 1 by e sigma 2 minus nu into sigma 1. So if you differentiate, means epsilon 1 minus epsilon 2, if you make the subtraction of these two equations, you are going to get this equation 1 by e into 1 plus nu sigma 1 minus sigma 2. Similarly, simplification, you know the sigma 1 minus sigma 2 is going to go, it's a stress optic law, n sigma f by h. So if you simplify this, the term can be written epsilon 1 minus epsilon 2 is equal to n epsilon f by h by referring the stress optic law, you are writing the same equation. By that, the n sigma epsilon f can be written in this term, in this equation. Okay, so like that the equation going to be changes. If you want to determine the material fringe value in the terms of strength, you have to require this equation. Okay, one simple problem is there, you have to solve this, and in some exams they have asked this problem. So you can read here, a fringe order of 2.5 means n value, the fringe order is nothing but capital N value, was observed at a point in a stressed plane stress model with light having a wavelength of 580 nm. So they have given the fringe order n value and 589 is the lambda value. Assuming the C remains constant, what fringe order would be observed at the point considered the light with a wavelength of 548 nanometers is used? So observe here, they have given two lambda values, means lambda 1 and lambda 2, and they have said assume the C remain constant. C is nothing but the velocity of light, it remains constant. So what you have to do, you have to take two equations, sigma 1 minus sigma 2 is equal to n, we have written lambda by C, the sigma f is nothing but lambda by C, so directly we have written here n1 lambda 1 by C into h. Similarly, sigma 1 minus sigma 2 is equal to n lambda 2 C into h, means C is common here, so there is no change, constant, so only lambda and lambda 2 is going to be changes in here. So what we do, with respect to C, we will change the equation. Okay, we will change the equation and we will relate those two equations. Okay, and we eliminate the what are the similar terms, and we will get n2 by n1 is equal to lambda 1 by lambda 2. This is the equation term we are going to get, and we know the lambda 1, lambda 2 and n1 term, so we have to determine n2 term. So n2 is equal to lambda 1 by lambda 2 into n1. We will substitute it and we are going to get the fringe order of a second wavelength. Okay, n2 is equal to 2.68. So like that you have to solve this problem. It's a very simple problem. Okay, thank you students. I think you have got the idea of how the stress optic law is going to be derived. Okay, thank you. Any queries you can ask in, and you can message me or you can call me. Okay, thank you.